I need to switch on my lights. Are we live? I think we are.
Live.
I think we're live.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Good evening, Gooners and Goonerettes. I'm not even sure if Goonerettes is an actual word. Welcome to the new Monday night Arsenal Cape Town review show, or as it shall be known as just Armoury.
The Cape Town Armoury.
The Cape Town Armoury. That's
There we
its
go.
official name. Welcome to the Cape Town Armoury. My name is Morgan Morris, and I'll be your host. And joining me on hosting duties this evening will be the gentleman who will be taking over hosting duties sometime soon. Naseem, how are you doing, sir?
Good, thanks. No Arsenal this week, so we're in good spirits. Better than last week.
Man, I will tell you, this is the thing that I've discovered. A game that I feel very calm this week. Any game that Arsenal doesn't play is a game that the Arsenal can't lose, and it's a game that won't send Gooners into rabid bouts of, attacks of anger and frustration and existential despair. So, yeah, it's been a good weekend. Good evening, Warren. Nice to have you on the show. I'm sure we'll be joined by a couple more people shortly. As some of you may notice, may observe, is that we are streaming to a couple of platforms tonight, aren't we, Naseem?
Yes, we are.
Can you just remind me? Traditionally, there's the Facebook Arsenal Cape Town, the official Cape Town Arsenal Supporters Club Facebook page, but also a couple of other spots.
We are streaming to the Arsenal Cape Town YouTube channel, and we are also streaming to another Arsenal page called the Cape Town Gooner. So, there should be quite a few people joining us tonight.
Perfect. So that means we are now entering the dreaded but lucrative world of YouTube. Which is something I've always wanted to be a YouTube influencer, but so far it's not working out. Thank you, Warren, for sharing, for alerting a whole bunch of people to what we're doing here this evening. Okay, so tonight we are going to be joined by usually we have a couple of panelists, and tonight we're going to keep the panelists down to two, Naseem, and you will explain now why. But essentially, there is one big question that the two panelists will debate this evening. And based on this debate, and that question is essentially, should Arteta stay or should Arteta go? And based on the winning debate, we will write an official email or WhatsApp to the Arsenal and alert them.
Send Edu a WhatsApp or something, dude. Guys in Cape Town say he needs to stay or go. So we'll see what happens. So let's invite our panelists, Gareth and Charlie.
How's it going?
I'm a little afraid, Naseem, because this isn't so much a discussion and debate as it could turn into a full-blooded MMA encounter.
This is virtual then.
We weren't warned. We weren't, forewarned about the topic here and what's
absolutely. Oh. What if we're both on the same side?
Listen here, I think even people on the same side have disagreements about this topic. So I expect it's going to be a lively encounter. I will just remind you guys, if you've seen any MMA fights, and I generally avoid it, but on occasion I catch a clip or two on YouTube, and I've seen people bash each other's faces to sort of swollen pulps. But then, it's a lovely handshake at the end, and, and there's hugging and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm hoping that, we don't want to create a whole two new clans here. So afterwards, we're going to shake hands and write our letter and I'll post our WhatsApp to the Arsenal. Okay.
Yeah.
Naseem, is there anything else that we're gonna do as part of the intros, or are we going straight into the fight?
No, we're breaking on Arteta first. We're just giving him a break. I think our first guy we're going to attack is
Alex. Alex is a little messy.
Is this guy? So this guy had an interview the other day, and I'd like everybody's thoughts on first, like, why would he have done an interview now, and what did you take away from what he had to say? You can start with you, Charlie.
Look, I mean, I watched the interview, and they're obviously going on a very offensive PR stunt to try and push, change the narrative of all the pressure that Edu and the team is getting there, Gunai, and about the recruitment and whatnot. So there were two interviews, one on the Arsenal.com website, and then the same interview, I think, on a Sky Sports website. Yeah. And you can see this pictures here are from the Sky Sports website, where his upper lip is quite stiff, and you could see the guy that was interviewing there grilled him. He didn't. Yeah. It wasn't a very lacquer interview, and Edu was falling over his words. But if you listen to the one on Arsenal.com, where it's obviously a more relaxed type of buzz, and it's not under so much pressure, I appreciated the fact that they're coming out and trying to give context for where Arsenal's at the moment. Obviously, there's a bit of a misalignment between what the fans expect and how they're going about the recruitment policy. So he's trying to paint the picture and to give context. So personally, for me, I thought it was a good move. They needed to come out, because I think Arteta is taking all the shots, and I mean there are shots coming their way, and they need to start opening up and get the fans clued up into terms of what the club is trying to do and trying to achieve.
Yeah. So I actually wanna push this towards the people watching, our guests watching, is that there's words he used is about that we need this togetherness. He mentioned the technical team, the people behind Arteta, the players, the fans. We need to have this togetherness to lift the club up. So for just in the comments there, do you think that's just a whole lot of BS, or did that like lift your spirits within you, your Arsenal spirits, and want to get behind the team? So just let us know in the comments if you think Edo's interview and words around getting together was a lot of BS, or did he actually hype you up and make you excited for the rest of the season? And then Gareth, what did you think of the interview, Gareth?
Yeah, look, I was definitely not excited for the season. I mean, one of the questions he refused to answer was, what is the aim to finish? What league position? And he point blank refused to give one. For me, I feel the whole interview just smacks of desperation, man. Him and Arteta, quite frankly, both clinging on to save their jobs. I think personally, I know we're still going to get to Arteta, but I think he's a dead man walking, and he should take Edu with him, quite frankly. I read an article. Look, I don't have all the facts. I didn't have that article with me. But since Edu's been involved, the amount of players that we let go on free and that we're selling at a loss has been astronomical. And that's his job. I mean, is that not his job, to hire and fire and buy and sell as it goes? So I thought we run as a business. It's that business is a failing business. I mean, you don't need a degree in economics like old Wenger had to know that that's a failing business. And I just feel that he's way out of his depth. And there's just the interview itself. It smacks of a team that is bottom of the log, and fucking hell, that's where we are at the moment, right? But the thing is, what I had there is it just shows so much inexperience from top to bottom. And then, of course, what do they go do? They only buy kids. It's almost to atone for the sins of the past when we bought the pension packs like David Luiz. Now we go and buy proper inexperienced kids. And I've got apps. He didn't fill me with anything other than more flipping nous to get rid of him.
Gareth, so you are not buying into the argument.
No.
And I want to take that they are basically trying to create a foundational team. That this is a team, because this is also an argument that I am not a big Roy Keane fan, not a fan at all. I consider him a thug, but I imagine that basically considering the points that we're arguing, I would understand that. But even he argued that they haven't explained it as such, and maybe that's their failing, or maybe just they fell into this plan without knowing what they were doing. But there does seem to be an argument that they are buying young to build a better foundation, because as Alex, Naseem, can you just put that comment on that Alex has posted? Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with the transfer policy at the moment, and this is the important comment. We can't get top class players in the position we're in. So do you think that the explanation for going for the young players and trying to build a team for the future, not a team for 2021, 22, or even 22, 23, do you buy into that argument at all?
Well, I don't personally, but that's just me, you know. What I feel, sorry, I actually lost my train of thought there. My dog ran in here now. he said, right, in the interview, he says, we need to start the process. Yeah. Then he goes, we're already in the middle of the process. So where are we? What the fuck is the process at this point? You know, he's saying this is to start our process. Then he jumps and he says we're already in the middle of the process. So what is the process? That's what I wanted to say. So we buy these youngsters now under 23, sign them for 2 to 3 years. What happens in 2 to 3 years' time? These boys are all good, okay? And what do they want to do? They want to win trophies. So they leave Arsenal because we're still not winning, because we probably still sticking with Arteta and Edu. So, no, I don't buy into the youth policy. I think it's bullshit. They'll be sold within 2 to 3 years if Arteta's here a minute longer.
Charlie, your thoughts, Charlie? Because I just want to make a case. I just want to make an example, because this youth-oriented policy is something that many clubs have done. Even the great Barcelona, for instance. Do you think that we could match that strategy?
Look, I mean, there's two issues or two kind of benefits for why the youth strategy is the right strategy for Arsenal, and to change some of the poor recruitment we've done in the poor handling of contracts. I mean, so we, as Gareth pointed out, you know, we've been so poor at letting players go that we never get money in, right, for players. Like the last time we sold a proper player to a proper club was probably Sanchez. I mean, that went off to United. So I think the one dynamic of having youth players is that, firstly, you tie them down to a contract and you are more likely to get money when in 2 or 3 years' time when they're 24, 25. For example, we have Willock that we're now able to sell off for some bucks. Whereas buying a more experienced player at this stage, you know, we're not going to get the transfer fees with the market we have. Unfortunately, we are in a market where people aren't selling. Aren't like there's not many moves happening for kind of average players, if I can call it that. And then I think the other issue is, like, just simply put, we don't have the financial capability we had a couple of years ago, where we could afford the top wages and the top transfers. So it is a challenge. We're not playing in Europe. There's no guarantees of having a wage bill. We had to cut costs. Our squad was too big. So I don't know. It is, I think, unfortunately, the only choice we had, given all the gaps we had to fill, right? So we weren't a team that needed 1 or 2 players. We are a team that needed all over the park. We needed to plug gaps and get things back to foundation. So we couldn't do like what the other teams are doing, you know, by purchasing 1 or 2 big names. But
we haven't invested all over the park, have we? We have focused largely on the defense.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like defense, midfield also. The only place we can argue we didn't go is up front, where we have 2 very experienced and quality strikers. Yeah, so in Oba and Lacazette, I mean, we have a decent attacking force. So I didn't think we needed to invest there. But yeah, we got like all across the park. The keeper, everyone here would have said we need a right back. Everyone here probably would have wanted another.
Yeah, but then we went and we signed Callum Chambers. I mean, this Tommy Yasu, he's not quite a right back. He's not quite a centre back. I mean, he's another Callum Chambers. So that's poor recruitment right there. That's one they can scratch off. I hope he proves me wrong. I'm going to back him, of course. he's playing for Arsenal, I will back him. But come on, man, he looks like another.
It doesn't quite sound as you're backing him. It doesn't quite sound as if you're backing him.
No, I'm not happy with the signing, but I'm backing him. He's playing for my club, so I'm backing him. I'm not happy with the signing. That's all.
Well, his YouTube clips looks good.
They're only going to show you the best part. So we've got that tackle on Ronaldo by now.
I've seen those highlight packages of.
I can show you Hector Bellerin's highlight package.
Hey,
Yeah,
we don't have to go there. But I want to ask you, Gareth. You seem to be. You think that we seem to be buying to sell again. That we're not buying to build a team. Is there any chance that we could be building a team, do you think, that would entice these youngsters to stay in 2 or 3 years when their contracts run out or when they excel?
Well, the thing is, realistically, where do you see Arsenal in 2 to 3 years? Do you see us back in the top 4? Trusting this process? Bearing in mind, let's not talk about possibly getting Kante in 6 months' time or next season, where he again has to start from scratch with this bunch. Let's talk right here, right now. In 2 to 3 years' time, where do you see Arsenal? Because I don't see them near the top. And if I don't see them near the top, then I see these youngsters leaving. Saka, he'll be gone. I mean, he says he loves Arsenal. They all love Arsenal. They were all boyhood Arsenal fans when they signed for Arsenal. And as soon as their time is up, they leave. You know what I mean? So we can't expect them to be a Tony Adams. You know what I mean? And Mr. Arsenal and stay here forever. So in 2 to 3 years' time, trusting the current process, yes, I think half the youngsters will be gone. I don't think we're building anything here.
Charlie, do you think that these youngsters, there are obvious concerns that we're signing these youngsters and nothing is perhaps changing on the... I think we just had a car drive through the studio, Naseem.
I heard
that. So do you think these youngsters, would they be considered a better investment if the Arsenal fans had more faith in the current manager, in a manager, whoever the manager is?
Yeah,
or do you think we are viewing them through the Arteta lens?
I think that is a problem, and I think that was one of the things that Edu was trying to say, right, which didn't come out very well when he spoke about he wants to see this team play together, right? So we haven't seen the combinations that exist here. We haven't seen Lokonga and Odegaard in the same team. We haven't seen Tavares and whatever, and centre-back pairings that we have out there, Gabriel and whatnot, right? So we haven't seen the combinations flow yet. I mean, so I think the other thing that he was trying to make, and the same thing that Arteta's been saying, right? I mean, we've gone through a lot of changes, right? I mean, I don't know if you remember back in the day when Wenger was on top of his game, and he'd always say, like, you don't want to make more than 3 changes to your squad at the time, right? So like 3 to 4 changes is the maximum number you can make in terms of transfers without disrupting the flow of the team. And I mean, Arsenal here, with just in terms of acquisitions, here's 6 new players being added, let alone those players that we've let go, you know. So if you count all of the acquisitions and all of the departures, I mean, we're talking about some big numbers, big changes. And that is disruptive, unfortunately. Yeah? It takes some time, takes some weeks for the guys to find their flow, to settle into the new apartments, to find the place in the changing room where they sit, to find out how this guy reacts to this. It's like, you know, to find the relationships. You know, this Tomiyasu guy needs to find his flow. And I think the biggest thing, the only time we can really make a proper judgment call is once we've seen these guys operating, settling in, like dealing with the pressures of playing for Arsenal Football Club, yeah? So that's why, I mean, I'll be on the side of argument that says, like, let's not rush just yet. I mean, I know I'm hurting like everyone else here. It's like Frikadel. You know, it is disappointing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is our transfer business. We spent almost 160 million pounds. I mean,
and let's not forget there were players like Messi and Ronaldo up for grabs.
Yeah. I mean, would you say it was good signings, good summer window for us? I mean, we spent the most money in the league. So, I mean, let's go with your thoughts first, Gareth. I mean, what do you think of these signings?
Look, what I've seen so far.
I was going to add a second part to that. Trying to forget the performances we had in the last 3 games. I mean, if this was, we still need to play our first game of the season, and these are the signings we've made. How would you feel about it? I mean, let's just start fresh. We didn't play City, we didn't play Chelsea, we didn't play Brentford. Our first game of the season's coming, Norwich, and transfer windows closed, and these are the players we brought in over the summer.
Look at then. If we haven't played any games yet, and you're looking at this, I mean, maybe 1 or 2, I'll be like, okay, maybe not. But other than Ødegaard, White, a little bit of Ramsdale, I didn't really know the other 3, to be honest. So if I look at this, it's still pretty much hit and miss for me, you know. And I totally get that the combinations haven't played together, the strongest combinations haven't played together, and also the fact that so many changes do bring about disruption. I mean, I remember that one season when Spurs sold Bale and they bought about 10 players, and we still managed to beat them 1-0 in the NLD. The only problem I have with that is the season has started. We 0 for 3, and we go into, and I'm laughing saying this, potentially a big game with Norwich. Okay. Let's say the worst case scenario happens, and we only manage a draw against Norwich. We're not going to get anything against Burnley because they will be up for it at home. I'm willing to give Arteta time, but how much more time do you give him? I feel he's a dead man walking. We're 0 for 3. Unless you go out and you absolutely whack Norwich 4-6-0, something along those lines, and you make a proper statement and say, hey, we're back. But then again, those guys coming back in like your Partey, he's going to obviously not be up to it. So then they're going to want to give Arteta another game because now his squad's together, but not fully fit. Now you give him Burnley. And like I said, you get nothing at Norwich. You go there with no confidence. They'll slap you. Now you're 0 for 5. Now what? How much more time must we give him? That's my argument at the moment. Then how much more time must you give him?
Yeah. No, I think
Charlie,
it's fair. I mean, I would say,
thoughts?
look, I mean, so I mean, I will back the manager until they give him the boot, yeah. And I mean, if we lose a Norwich game, it's like I agree with you. Then it's like, okay, do that. If there wasn't already a nail in the coffin, then that is like one missing nail. So you kind of have, you then have to go on a winning streak of 3 or 4 games after that, including the North London derby. But I mean, like really, I think the losing against Norwich is almost like it is game over for him because it's going to talk about broader issues, right? Like I mean, the squad depth, players not playing for him, all that noise is going to surface again. So I don't think he'll be able to squash that. But I mean, like on paper, Frikadel, if we can't beat Norwich, then I mean, like literally there is no excuses. Like he doesn't have excuses. He has to beat Norwich. Like I mean, like so, and I think we will beat them. I don't think we won't beat them. And then that Burnley game is going to be a tough one. But again, he has to deliver some goods. And the players like Party that we've missed, they have to step up. So that they have to like show they're going to play for the manager. Yeah. So the players have responsibility in this, and they have a couple of games to like really buy Arteta some more time because, as you said, I mean, the writing is on the wall. The rumors are not going to go away, and if he doesn't start getting some results, proper results, then yeah, he will be fired. I mean, him and Edu and Vinay, all the guys, they will be. I mean, the vultures are all waiting there. I mean, all the news coming out. Overmars wants to come back. His name's Sol Campbell. All these guys, Henry, Wenger,
Merson.
Guys, I want to ask you a question though. We've mentioned a lot of the times, we've mentioned that we've spent more than any other club this season. But if we look over the past 3, 4, 5 seasons in total, I'm just looking at some numbers that I found where obviously the likes of Man City compared to our 443 million over the past 5 seasons, Man City have spent 818 million. So they're approaching the £1 billion mark. Man United have outspent us. Chelsea have outspent us. Even Everton have outspent us over the past 5 seasons. Is it fair to make too harsh a judgment about this season's spending when we're still spending well below the league winning clubs?
Well, those clubs are delivering titles. I think it's simple as that, really.
Everton?
Well, yeah, with the
Everton,
exception of
Who's
Everton.
opposed
Look,
Man
there's
United?
always one amongst them, man. There's always a small team that's
Man
spending a lot of
United
money.
is not. When's the last time Man United won a title?
Well, they've won the Europa League. They've been to a Europa League final, which we have as well. But they've got an FA Cup in between there.
We have an
I
FA
think
Cup.
the Europa.
in
Well, they
between.
won a Europa. Hey, look, I'll take a Europa at this point.
Yeah,
We're not,
okay.
we're not competing at the moment in that, man.
Look, I
But
mean,
they-
I also United are at least heading in the right direction, man. I mean, you can see United's general play as much
Yeah.
as it freaking sucks. I mean, they what second the log last year.
Yeah,
They're adding
absolutely.
some icing to the cake, so you can see the United outfits looking decent.
Yeah, it's looking good. And
Is-
it's an
is
attractive
that-
club again.
Is that a lesson for us to take? Because let's put it this way: Ole did not get the warmest welcome, not from many old Man United players who said this is simply not the guy to take us to the next level. Is there perhaps a lesson to be learned here, Gareth?
Well, Ole, when he took over, he went on like a 11 or 12 game winning streak initially, which actually got him the permanent job to begin with. And then, yeah, look, there were ramblings. Of course, there were ramblings because at the end of the day, there's ramblings because they are Manchester United. You know, they want a top quality manager that's going to deliver European football on a regular basis and Premier League titles to boot. That's what Man United have always been under Sir Alex. So I think they had every right to call for the manager's head. But you know what? They stuck with him. But they got second. But let's be honest, they were miles off City. They were miles off City, and they got knocked out of the Champions League, and then made the Europa League final through that, which they ultimately lost. So it didn't really matter.
But most of those people are now thinking that Man United, you yourself just said that they seem to be on track again. Isn't this an argument that we should give Mr. Arteta a little bit of rope here? He's probably going to hang himself with it, but still.
Yeah, look, he's delivered top 4 in 2 seasons for Man United, has he not? Arteta's done an 8th and an 8th. I'm not really sure how much more time you want to give him. Like I said, like that's a question I actually want to pose. Like for you guys, for Arteta to stay for the full season, like for you guys, where do you think, where would you guys be happy with where he ends?
Charlie, fortunately, I don't have to answer that because I'm not a panelist. So, you answer that, Charlie.
You're not.
Okay, here's my rebuttal, right? The thing that people forget is the run of results that Arteta got on the second half of last season, right? I mean, we mustn't forget, we started off with a whole bunch of stuff, but if you look at since Christmas, like, I mean, second to City, right? So we know that Arteta has that in him to get a run of games, and unfortunately, like, he started this season with, I think, like, just bad luck. I mean, that COVID situation and whatnot, and then playing City and Chelsea back to back was just, I don't know, wasn't ideal. So for me this season, like, just given the direction they're going, the fact they're investing in youth, I mean, I don't think we're going to be a top 4 club. Or maybe the start of the season I thought we would before I looked at all the signings. But after having seen the signings and seeing what they're trying to do, if we make top 6, I mean, if we make Europe this year, it will be an achievement, winning a cup along the way. That's probably like going to be improvement. That will show progress for us this year. I mean, and then I think what the guys have invested in terms of the players. I mean, we've got some really special talent. I mean, captains of their country in Odegaard and what's his Sambi Lokonga, another captain at Anderlecht. So we have like young leaders, man. And like really the thing that they have to do is to keep these guys together. And there will be something really special that won't be easy to replicate, yeah. So I'm hoping 2 years' time, but that's like when we should be mounting a serious challenge for top 4 spots. That's where we at, I think, as a club. The reality of Arsenal.
Naseem, can we read a couple of messages? We've had a furious amount of messages, and
we can.
I just want to go through some of them. I just want to we're going to go up from there. Okay, Fabian Tai says, our window was bad. We're still using the same excuse of rebuilding for the what? Where's it gone? Oh, there we go. No, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm putting it back. I'm putting it back.
I can bring it. I can bring it. I can also look at it. I think I have some control here. Okay. We are still using the same excuse of rebuilding for the future, and it was the same theory in Wenger era. What's the next story they're going to give us? Conan Peters, I think he is a little bit supportive of the process. I mustn't use the word process because I see if I use the word process, people get angry. Okay, so Conan Peters says we have seen worse in the past. He's looking at the youth. He'll be looking for a response of the city. He definitely felt it. Jeremy Fisher says difference between losing games and not competing in games. We have not competed even against Brentford, irrespective of the players that weren't available. Warren says he finally agrees with Jeremy on something. We have a comment here, says Wolfie. Wolfie is what we call in American politics as a flip-flopper, but I don't think I think it's his heart and his brain that are always at odds with each other. And he says the squad is good enough to finish above the likes of Everton, Leicester, and West Ham. The problem is mediocre coaching. There comes the angry head. Poor tactics, no preparation, and over-coaching polished with poor man management skills.
Well said, Wolfie. Well said.
Yeah. Peter Duplessis says, I don't think it's a quantity problem, rather a quality problem. We buy players we want to develop instead of a winning formula. I just on that issue, I want to wait. Peter also says we spend 150 million pounds on chomp chocolates and can't get one good and can't get one
chomps when you're dying. As we know the belt organ, can't be a chomp.
And we can't get. Listen here, you can't go to the girlfriend for booking with your chomp. That was old school. Nowadays, you've got to go for Ferrero Rocher. But isn't this the thing that people have been saying that we aren't going to get? We're not going to be able to get Ferrero Rocher. Ferrero Rocher will not want to come with us out of the shop.
So
does that mean? But that means that the older players that we do have, should be stepping up. Do you think, Gareth, that the older players have been doing that?
Well, let's look at the older player that got a 4-year contract extension. At 2-0 down, he said to the guys, no, sorry, I don't fancy it. You lot are on your own today. And he goes in for a reckless challenge. So, no, I don't think the older players are stepping up. I will give Aubameyang the benefit of the doubt for now with the COVID issue. But last year, after he got his big salary increase, he was also nowhere at the races. Obviously, Lacazette's been down with COVID and Partey's been injured. And quite frankly, I haven't seen enough of Nicolas Pepe this season yet. So I don't really think there's any experienced heads stepping up at the moment. Robbie Holding again, just, unfortunately, just not good enough. People at the end of the day are going to say the likes of Holding and Chambers, Alneni, these are good squad players. Yes, I agree. Good squad players for squads that don't make top 4. Our ambition is to get into the top 4. Unfortunately, these guys are not good enough. And these are our senior players. The senior players you ask for, these are the guys. And at the moment, they're not stepping up.
Charlie, is it just a poor start to the season? Because last year, some of them, I thought, some of the older players did okay. We've got our 2 goal scorers. They couldn't. They carried the big burden of trying and score all the goals. That's Lacazette and Aubameyang. A couple of other players. Do you think there's potential that some of these players could do well? The older players could do well, or was last year?
We need them to. I mean, I agree that they haven't been performing. I think Xhaka really, that City game let us down. I would say last season, I thought Xhaka had a proper season last year. I mean, the guy was playing out in left back, out of position. And I mean, he made those mistakes he made. He's always got that Xhaka moment in him during the season. But ultimately, I mean, I think the O's heart is in the right place. I want to believe. But then,
even if his feet on, always in the right place.
Yeah, but I think that at the back we have a real problem. I thought, Callum Chambers, that guy, Frikadel, that City game, he was I don't know. He was nowhere. He did nothing in that game for me. And I mean, it didn't help with Rob Holding also being all out of sorts. But I mean, if you look at the midfield in terms of experienced players, there's Xhaka, there's El Neni. I mean, I'm not going to rate him on his ability, but talking about experience, cool head, they've been around the park. There's, Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Mari, and Bernardo. So I don't know, people say there's not experienced players, but there are experienced players spread across the squad that can help these youngsters, right? I mean, I think that the other thing that's worth noting for me that was interesting was the fact that we didn't lose Lacazette this season. I mean, probably going to lose him on a free at the end of the season, but the club, I think, did well to at least keep him there, even if it's just for a year, to groom the likes of Balogun or Martinelli, whoever's going to play in that position. There is experience, man. There is knowledge transfer happening. So I don't know. This is obviously an important year, and I think honestly, the experienced players have to step up. They have to be the ones that are going to show the lighties in the way. But yeah, must be done.
I mean, like, so this is our current squad. I mean, does this make you feel all warm and fluffy inside and excited going forward? I mean,
like the joy that comes from eating
the joy. It's like to a Trump. Yeah, does it give you that Ferrero Rocher feeling when looking at this? This is our squad. This is the players we have.
When you buy the small Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah,
I can see a small Ferrero Rocher.
A 3-packet one.
Yeah. Okay, maybe an 11-pack. But that's my point. If we put our strongest, or what we feel is our strongest 11 out, we can compete with some of the bigger clubs up there. The problem is our depth. That is the problem. The problem is the squad. The problem is not the first 11. There are good players here. You go through those. You can pick out 11 players that can start, and then the rest will be your bench.
So let's jump to that. So this is what I was messing with. And on paper, I think this is probably our best squad. I feel. I mean, like, we can obviously move somebody out or bring somebody in, but I mean, would this be the best 11?
Yeah, that'd probably be our best 11. But just based on the fact that I haven't seen the Asian Callum Chambers, I'm going to go Ainsley Maitland-Niles at right back. But other than that, look, maybe because I'm a Lacazette fan, I might throw him in ahead of our captain. But other than that, very happy with that side you put out. So that's probably one of our strongest, if not our strongest 11.
Yeah. I mean, I know the other player a lot of people would include in there is Smith Rowe, but I agree. I would give Pepe the nod above Emil, just because of experience. I think Smith Rowe still has. This year specifically, he has a lot of development to grow into a number 10.
Yeah, I agree. I still think to throw him out wide either way would be a bit of a waste for him. I'd rather have him maybe then coming on in the second half, taking a roll up through the middle. But I think playing Smith Rowe out wide will be such a waste for him.
And I thought the exact same thing. So, guys in the comments, A or B, which team would you choose? So I stuck Smith Rowe in there and drop Lokonga for Smith Rowe.
Is this for the game against Norwich, or have you dropped
Xhaka?
You have dropped Xhaka totally.
Xhaka's dropped.
Is he on the bench? He's
the water guy.
He's on the bench.
The water guy. Get the team ready. I don't know if you saw in the Euros, he can do quite a good motivational talk in the halftime. So we'll be that guy.
We just have to remember that based on statistics last season, he is the most active player in the squad. The number of balls received and the number of balls passed. He is quite key in that midfield position. So I'm just putting that out there.
No, that's fair. Look, I think we're going to fool ourselves if we don't see Arteta bring Xhaka back into that midfield to partner party. So he will be there.
Well,
he's got his...
Yeah, go for it.
No, I was going to say Xhaka has seen of Wenger. He's seen of Unai. He's seen of Teddy. He'll see of Arteta also.
Look, you seen off Freddie too. Freddie eventually left the club.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
well,
who else?
The nice thing is,
Yeah.
sorry, man, just to go back to Xhaka, the nice thing is, well, nice for me, is he's suspended this week. So we were able to see Lokonga, hopefully with Partey, and then I don't know if it's a 1 or 3 game suspension, but
It's 3.
I mean, is it? Oh, fantastic.
Is it
Well,
3?
then hopefully we get to see
straight red card.
Partey. I mean, if Lokonga could get a few decent performances under his belt with Partey next to him, I think that could definitely be the strongest,
Just as I was watching
going forward.
This weekend on my Twitter feed, there was the highlights of Partey versus Chelsea in the preseason match, and it just reminded me, man, like what a proper player we had there, man. Like one player that can really change the game,
absolutely.
just create
100%.
more space, control the game, and so I think I'm hoping he comes back in a good way.
Yeah, definitely myself. I'm a huge fan of Partey.
I have to ask you a question here because obviously, Naseem, you went with the forward the back thing, and a lot of people have been arguing for
3 at the back.
3 at the back formation. The 3 centre back thing didn't quite work out against Man City. It didn't work out at all. Yeah. Are people the people joining us here in the comment section? Are you guys, most of you, also happy with the forward the back, or you think there's an argument to be made for going 3 at the back? Or are we just...
I see there's a question being asked about 3 at the back. I mean, I don't know, from my side, I just, if you got 3 at the back and you lose 1 in midfield, and look, I know it's Man City, and, I mean, their bench will kill you, never mind their starting lineup. But the thing was, we were just so overrun in midfield that the back 3 just never stood a chance, to be honest with you. And me personally, I'd rather have 4 at the back and an extra body in the midfield. That's just me.
Yeah, look, I mean, Arteta made some stupid mistakes now in that freaking City game. Eh? So I think, I understand why we do 3 at the back, but then to play Xhaka as the only cover for your back pairing was like, dude, what the heck? I mean, exactly, like we're gonna be Gundogan and those guys had a field day.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was like really, that's the reason I don't like 3 at the back, because it really does cost us attacking, and we already know that Arteta in his best of days, his teams at this stage aren't flowing, so not creating lots of chances, man. So playing 3 at the back just, gives us less options to create those chances.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the comment of Wolfie.
If we feel that the 3, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
and the
so-
Chuckle Brothers.
So now the main topic, this guy.
Acrimony.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Charlie. Should he stay? Should he go? If he stays, how long do we give him? What do we judge him on as a successful season? And
Look,
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no. So for me, the club has to think about some contingencies. So I don't think Conte is the right manager, right? So they have to start thinking, right? If he's not going to deliver the goods, who else? And so I don't agree with names like Conte, those type of managers being named as being right manager, because experience shows that they come and they want to buy a lot more players, right? So we're gonna, unfortunately, not get that type of manager that might demand a certain type of player or certain type of squad before he can achieve certain objectives. So any manager that comes in is going to have to come in and basically be on the back foot and say, look, I'll take the squad you give me and I'll achieve mission impossible, something that hasn't been achieved before. So number one, club has to work out a contingency. That's like kind of a thing that they should do. Then for Arteta himself, for me, like he has a couple of games. This Norwich game is a must win. So if he doesn't win Norwich, it's like, we can't even, then they must, start with their plan B, the option B manager plan. But then he has 10 games, right? He has until October, he has till November. If he can get, a couple of wins and get a run of results, proper results, win the North London derby, get the team just change the atmosphere, right? I mean, if we can just start using some of those players that he's purchased and put his faith in, put him on the field and get them playing for him, then he can turn it around. I mean, I think if we get to October, November, and we're still languishing bottom half of the table, right? If we're not the top half of the table by that time, then I think it's going to be, I don't know. I would think it's too much pressure for him
So
to
is he okay? So is he the right guy for the job? Is he the right guy to bring back the glory years?
Charlie, remember you told us that you bought into playing this role. So the only answer you have is yes.
So is he the guy? So post Invincibles, is he the guy?
Who is the guy?
Is he the right guy?
It's like I would if the club like really wanted to honor their values and principles like really proper, right? I mean, they would have to see this thing through to the end of the season. I mean, for me, that would be an Arsenal thing to do, right? Unless we freaking being relegated. If we relegation, then I mean, they give the guy the boot, right? But if they are really developing a squad, developing youngsters, and if by December they can see positive signs, right? They can see that this thing is beginning to work. Then he is the guy. Then he needs more time. They're changing the manager is not going to get us the results, right? I mean, my point is just this: you get a new manager, more disruption, more delays to your process. Right? That's like a given. Yeah.
Gareth, your thoughts on our manager?
Gareth, I'm going to throw something at you. Is there anything he can do to in your eyes redeem himself, or you don't care if he beats Norwich and beats Spurs, you still want him out?
You remember last season when you had me on, I backed Arteta all the way. I backed him right up until we lost that home game 0-0 against Unai Emery. Remember that game we lost 0-0? Yes, that one. I backed him all the way up to there. So I'm not one of those just coming here to rage Arteta. The thing is, I can't see him turning this around. He has no experience. You know what I mean? He packed out cones for Pep for a couple of seasons. You know what I mean? Getting your badges is one thing, but getting proper experience is absolutely another thing. You know, I don't see him turning this around. So my answer is no. For me, there's nothing he can do. You can go out, okay. You beat Norwich 1-0. You beat them 5-0. Doesn't really matter. It's 3 points. Get a result against Burnley, get a result against Spurs. Great, we'll have a little run. Are we going to end top 4? Hell no. Are we going to end top 6? Sure, I'd love to say yes. You know, I was one of those idiotic fans at the start of the season that thought, maybe we can do it because we don't have the distraction of Europe. Get right up there, Give it to those other fans. But no, the reality has set in. This is what we are these days, unfortunately. And the manager he has to take most of the blame. There's nothing, honestly, other than making top 6 this season, which I can't see him doing. There's nothing he can do to convince me that he's the person to stay and take us forward to the former glory days.
What if he does 8th again with the FA Cup?
The trophy's nice. The trophy's nice. But hold on. Didn't we learn our mistake from 2 seasons ago when he got us FA Cup in 8th? What did he do the following season? He got us 8th and nothing. And now we sit here.
Yeah,
so,
but can I just say,
FA Cup hasn't worked before.
But Gareth, I mean, can we like give context to that season? So obviously winning the FA Cup, right? When the guy walked in, there wasn't long-term plans. It was, look here, you come in halfway through the season, you must deliver the goods, right? I mean, with what you have. And so he gets the FA Cup in his first 6 months, right? He gets the title. So he can do the goods. He can do the, if you're coaching under 7, kick the ball long and you're going to score a goal. That if you want to win matches, I can do that. Yeah. So then his second season, it's like we need to start changing the squad because this squad is never going to be competing against the likes of where City and Liverpool and Chelsea are from a football perspective in terms of what numbers they're getting, covering areas of the pitch and passing in these areas and all of those sort of stats, because like Klopp and these guys are heavy on the stats. So numbers-wise, we know we're close to competing against those top teams. Yep. So he has to start getting rid of players, right, for the longer term that just can't do it. Contracts players that their hearts are in it. They're not going to bleed. I mean, they're not going to put in the sweat that's needed to cover the distance in a match, to compete against those type of teams, right? So that's what was big around letting go of Mustafi and letting go of Ozil and all of those players that just got let go. And what's the other Greek defender, right? I mean, and these guys were not. Yeah, they were not. They were like kind of really toxic to the changing room, right? So I think there were issues there that they'll never talk about. And now we're coming into the next season, and obviously we end up 8th. We had a stable start, and the guy managed to get the team playing a certain way to deliver goods the second half of the season, right? I mean, like really like proper results. And then this season it was like a proper. Now we're going into full on. This is how I want to play. Like my way of playing means I have to get younger players in that I can teach them to play this way, because the older players, they, whatever reason, just don't get it. They don't have the heart. So I need to get in the younger ones that are going to fit into the structure. I mean, Willian is a prime example. Like, I mean, Willian, that guy, he couldn't get it, right? I mean, we thought, and I think that the club put their hands up and recognized they made a mistake there, but there were certain players that just couldn't fit into the way that we want to play going forward. So for me, it's like this analogy that I think of, like if I'm coaching under 17, right? Either I can teach a team how to win a game. And how do you win a game under 7? You put your strongest player at the back, and you put your strongest player up front, and that one kicks the ball as hard. Everyone kicks the ball as hard as he can, and that player will score a goal, right? But the team is never going to learn how to play the game, and ultimately, in years to come, that's to be their detriment as footballers. So it's like that type of concept on obviously a professional level here, where you can try and win matches, right, by playing a certain brand like the Burnleys and whatnot, and that will give you the results, but it's never going to take you into achieving at the top level of the game. And I think, listen to how Pep talks about Arteta. Like, I mean, that's where Pep says this guy like knows things about football that it's like next level, man. It is progressive. So we don't see it, but the numbers and stuff he's chasing, how he's trying to set the team up, is a progressive brand of football, right? I mean, it is, I don't know. That's what I want to believe, right? So I'm obviously sharing you.
I'm also going to buy into that.
Everything you've said, I've agreed with. Everything you've said, I agree with. Sadly, what Arteta doesn't have is experience. And this job at the moment is unfortunately too big for him. We whether we are 20th now, struggling without even having scored a goal, we're still a big club. And at the moment, for me, this job is just far too big for Arteta. He should have done his time maybe in a lower league. You know, you look at someone like Steven Gerrard. You know, he started at Rangers. You know, and then you take another guy like Frank Lampard, who had one season in the Championship and then decided to jump into the Premier League. And you saw what happened with him. And we've seen how Thomas Tuchel's turned Chelsea around. So I personally think this is 1 or 2 jobs too early for Arteta. I've seen his style of play. I've seen the way he's played. I've seen how we won with the FA Cup. He just doesn't have enough experience to get out of this hole. We can go on a little run, but sadly, when it goes wrong under Arteta, it goes horribly wrong, and we lose a whole string of games, and it just does our season. It happened last season, and it's already started this season. The job's too big for him, unfortunately. I agree with everything you say, Charlie. Progressive manager, yes, he's just a little bit too inexperienced for me.
But I mean, so I would just say like he's made mistakes, right? And he's, like you say, he's learning on the job. He's learning to do stuff that he never had to deal with before. I mean, the guy came in appointed as a coach, and now he's a manager. So, like, I mean, he's having discussions he's never had to, stuff he has to deal with, man. I mean, so like he's making mistakes. But my point is just this: is it worth it, man? Is it the pain we're going through now? Is this going to be worth it?
Well, the memes, I've stopped receiving memes this week, so that probably means that the rivals actually just feel sorry for us. They don't even banter us anymore. That's
Here's the question I want to ask. Here's the question I want to ask. I watched this panel of a couple of former Arsenal players, Roy Keane, a couple of other, and then one other player there, and I was shocked to see these 4 very experienced, highly acclaimed players giving so much support to Arteta, and I thought, no, what is it that they are seeing? In the meantime, the fans and the way those guys explained it was there are long-term goals that you suffer for, you put them in place, and that's what you're aiming for. The fans, however, as those pundits also pointed out, want results now. Is there the risk that in seeking quick
we
gains,
could be like Liverpool? 30 years without a title. Is that what you're leading up to us?
We are close. We are close there, and the man got the title. Do you think that fans themselves should be a little bit more? Do you think that those former players see stuff that the fans don't see, and the fans should be a little bit more patient?
Yeah, look, I mean, fans want results, right? I mean, I think we can't. Unfortunately, this guy lives in a pressure environment. They're not gonna get away from the pressure of results, right? They have to deliver. So I think the club is trying to paint a strong picture around where we are at, what stage of the development we're at. Whether all the fans are gonna accept that, probably not. There will certainly be the portion of fans that say no, to hell with that. But I think if you look at that City game, I mean, I was surprised that the players afterwards went over to the away fans, and there were quite a bunch of fans still cheering on the team. Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of fingers and birds being shown, but the majority of the fans that stayed behind were still supporting the team, right? So there are still a big chunk of fans that are trusting the process, I guess.
Not the ones who left off.
Maybe they've just travelled all their way and at least clapped him off. You know, I mean, I'm not trusting the process. I'll clap him off if I was there. You know, but I'm not trusting the process, and I'm still Arteta out. You know, I'll support them every flipping day of the week. Make no mistake about that. But I want the manager out.
I like this comment of Alex, and
people don't believe this stat. People do not like this comment. People do not like to point out. I watched an interview just a week ago where Dennis Law, one of Man United's most beloved players, said, "So Alex got this close to being fired in his third or fourth season because he had done nothing."
Yeah.
Is that a caution to you?
Well,
Gareth, to think maybe?
Yeah, well, you know what I was going to say. United hadn't won anything for a while, so they were used to it. But I suppose we haven't won anything for a while.
No, at that stage they had actually won a couple of titles, 1 or 2 titles.
Yeah. But what I mean, it's been a while back. You know, they had the whole plane crash. They had to still rebuild the club, and etc. I don't know. Morgan, it's been 17 years now, man. You know, since the
we still got 13 to go.
Yeah, but you'd think, if we'd won it like by a point or something, or won it on goal difference and never won it for 17 years, you'd be like, you know what, we scraped through that season, we'll enjoy it. But that was the Invincibles, man. That was supposed to be the creme de la creme. But that seemed, the Invincibles, quite frankly, seem to be our Everest, because since the Invincibles, everything's just gone down. You'd think the only way is up from there, really. Invincibles, right? What's next? Champions League. Well, okay, we got close, but we all know what happened there. But from there, it's just been a steady decline, unfortunately.
Can you just put up, Naseem, can you just put up this comment by Jeremy Visser? Because I want to turn that into a question.
And I also think it's a different era these days. I mean, you can't be judging on that sort of time. I mean, if Fergie had been afforded this sort of money in this space of time, I also think he may have actually ended up losing his job. We don't know. You can't compare those eras to this era. I mean, you'll never get a guy staying at a club for 15, 20 years at a top club. Those days are a long time over.
Yeah. This is Charlie, I'm going to put this question to you. And Jeremy says United under Fergie early on played attractive football, and there was progression. And obviously, there wasn't always progression in results at the end of the season. Fergie had like a bad first season, really good second one, and then 2 terrible third and fourth one. Then won the FA Cup that saved his job. Are there other elements of the Arsenal game that you think could redeem Arteta beyond finishing the top 4, the top 6?
Look,
Like playing attractive football.
Similarity, I would say, is, Ferguson reverted to youth, right? So he went to the what's his name, Beckham and Keane and all those boys. Back then that was like a major step, right? It took those boys some time to get accustomed to playing like Premier League football, and I think there's a bit of a pattern there that I think Arsenal's trying to pattern, to do the same in terms of getting in youth. So it takes a couple of years, unfortunately. So there's definitely that element.
Yeah, there's also a different time because back then international players were either Irish, Welsh, or Scottish. They weren't, sort of Spanish players in the what was it, Division 1 at the time. Okay, so Gareth, one last question. If Arteta gets the sack, who do you bring in? And I want you to take into consideration Charlie's comment that any manager coming in will expect a lot of money. Who do you think, what kind of manager would they get that would be willing to play with the squad as is now?
Steve Bruce. They've spent zero.
I imagined all kinds of names.
Yeah, Steve Bruce. I suppose that's the answer you want based on that criteria. What do you want me to say? He's happy working with a low budget. Steve Bruce.
So are you saying that no manager of quality would be willing to come in and play under those terms?
Yeah, you're going to struggle to attract a top coach.
I think what's the
terms and conditions.
If they could get a Brendan Rodgers, I think he could do something with his kids. So Brendan Rodgers, experienced, the guy's got a template that he showed can work at Leicester without making major signings. So I think Brendan Rodgers is one of those names that can be thrown in the hat there.
Okay,
so he's got a lot of experience under his belt now as well. It's not just that season or two at Liverpool. He's gone away to the Scottish
Rangers.
Obviously, Celtic.
Celtic, sorry.
And then a good few years already under his belt back in the Premier League with Leicester. So I would not say no to Brendan Rodgers. But would he come? You can say we're a big club, we're Arsenal, but Leicester's in Europe. He's got that. He's got that to stay. So maybe we'll also struggle to try and attract him. But I won't say no to Brendan Rodgers.
Okay, so let's go to the comments. So if anybody, I saw Conte being mentioned in the comments. So I think Brendan Rodgers is a name. So just type B for Brendan Rodgers or C for Conte. If we should fire Arteta next week, or A, keep Arteta. So A for Arteta, B for Brendan Rodgers, C for Conte.
Is Wenger in there? Wenger's in there.
You can hire W if you want Wenger back.
Okay, Warren is very unhappy that we are making any kind of United comparisons, particularly one that he says goes 40 years back. So we have been banned from talking about Manchester United and Sir Alex Ferguson on the show.
Different era.
Different era, we've been told. I always thought that there are certain qualities that kind of transcend time and generations. But
No, I'm saying, obviously he did start with that whole youth policy when he brought the Beckham and the Neville boys all through. But, you must remember he still had quality experience there. He had Pallister and Bruce at the back. You see, we're mentioning Steve Bruce again. Whereas we got a Chambers and a Holding. That's our experience heads for the youngsters. So I totally get that we're going to a similar blueprint, but his tools and Arteta's tools are slightly different.
That's true.
Okay. So Wolfie says A for Arteta, B for Brendan Rodgers, C for Alex, and Charlie excuses D for Conte in. Not quite sure what that means, but he's picked every letter of the alphabet. Yeah. Okay, we have a couple of C's. C seems to be the
Conte
favorite.
seems to be the favorite, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. Conte is not going to come. Yeah, I'm not sure if Conte is going to come
in an ideal world, it will be Conte, but in a Stan Kroenke world, it will probably be Eddie Howe or Sean Dyche. Let's be honest.
What's his name? What's the West Brom manager? Sam Allardyce.
He's the only one that can save us now.
I'm going to get into trouble for saying this. I'm going to get into trouble for saying this. But nobody touch the Leeds manager, please.
Ooh, here we go.
Yeah, I just want, please.
As long as they end above Arsenal, Morgan.
They are my only joy now. I can watch football for football's sake with them, so nobody touch them. But Charlie, do you think it stands in Arteta's favor, perhaps, that you think no one's going to come in of quality of any decent name is going to come in and want to take over this slot? Without being able to replace the slot kind of with sweeping changes. Do you think that stands in Arteta's favor? It gives him a little bit more?
Yeah, I think him and Edu and Vinay have locked themselves in. Yeah, they got the little agreement there that says, look, we got ourselves some insurance here.
Some security is all...
Yeah, we spent all the money that's in our war chest, so nobody else can come in here to keep demands. And so for the next 2 years, as long as we're not relegated, we'll be all right.
I can't argue with you there.
Yeah, no, cool. I think we're going to struggle. I think that's really the reality. We're not going to be able to bring in players. We're not going to get a manager with a war chest. We have owners that are not going to throw in their own money out of their pockets again. I don't know.
Naseem, is there any update on the whole Qatar money?
No, I've been following his Twitter almost every day to see if he mentions anything. Nah, he hasn't said anything yet. The last is that he's going to give an offer this year. He's going to propose a Godfather offer. You know, the offer they can't refuse within this year.
Refuse,
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see.
I think that's the only way we're going to get Arteta out, eh?
I think that's the only way we're going to win the league. It was stupid money. So, but yeah, guys, we have to end the show. Before we end, I just need to share one last thing before we go, and just to remind everybody to join us on our predictor game. And on top of that, I'm going to give some other input around this. So the predictor, you get points for your predictions, and also there is actually cash prizes to be won. Top 3 people, person that ends first, we'll keep a log, and the log will be shown on the show every week. The first person will win a 500 Rand cash prize. Person in second place will get 300. Person in third place will get 200 Rand.
Wow.
So
every week.
No, not every week. At the end of the season.
I also thought every week. I was like, what?
I'll speak to the sponsor. He can give us a grand a week.
Oh, wow.
But at the end of the season, awesome. So first place, 500 Rand. Second place, 300 Rand. Third place, 200 Rand. And
I need to win third place so I can recover my bet. For Arsenal winning the league, as per usual, 100 Rand went on Arsenal winning the title this season. So yeah.
So just to answer Charlie's question, to enter, all you have to do is watch the show. When we do the predictor scores, just comment with your prediction, and you get added to the table. Because I'll then just take your name off the comments and add it to the table, and we'll obviously keep track on the log. I am playing, but I don't get any scores. Myself and Morgan won't get any score.
I just realized something. Can I just see can we just put us on the screen again? That my clock lying sideways is not an act of protest. It's not that the Arsenal logo is at half mast. I was just switching on the little fairy lights, and then I think I knocked it sideways. Here we go.
Cool.
Three-quarter
Guys, I think we need to end. We after our 9 o'clock slot. I want to thank Morgan for co-hosting and hosting with me, and Charlie and Gareth. It was great having you guys on the show.
Thank you.
At least we didn't have to do the MMA stuff, so I'm glad. But yeah, it was a great show. To everybody else watching on whatever platform you are, thanks for watching, and we will be back next week for our review of our Norwich game.
Of our Norwich victory.
Norwich win.
Yeah, Norwich victory. By the way, before we go, you can still comment to the video, even though the video stopped. If you haven't sent your prediction for the Norwich game, you can add it to the comments. I will add it to the predictor game, and we will see you after the Norwich game. Thanks for joining.
Awesome. Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Cheers.